everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. And my girlfriend, she does not like washing our car. So it's my job to wash the car. And that's why I'm thankful for Silver Wax, because they make it easy to wash the car. I have in my hands, if you're listening right now, I have the Silver Wax rims, tires, and engine cleaner. It's for cars, motorcycles, boats, and RVs. Ultra fast action, easy to use, removes tough contaminants, and it has a powerful formula. And then in my other hand, I have the interior protection, which is anti-static, and it has UV protection, non-greasy formula, dry to touch. You just spray it on. And I also have Silver Wax microfiber cloths and Silver Wax washing mitts, and the washing mitt is my favorite because you just throw it on your hand and you use your hand to wash, and it makes washing things easy. So I'm very thankful for Silver Wax for making my life easy. And if you want to make your life easy too with Silver Wax, use our code SDPN10. You get 10% off your purchase of Silver Wax, which you can get at silverwax.ca or at your local Canadian Tire. Silver Wax takes absolute care of your car. Find the product, like I said, at your local Canadian Tire or at silverwax.ca. Use that code SDPN10. That's SDPN10, not TEN, to save 10% on your order.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Of all the things for the NHL to get up in arms about, to launch a full investigation about, and then close the investigation hours later with a decision made and fines doled out to those that they've deemed committed crimes. Of all the things for the NHL to go super hardo about, they've decided to go at Nick Cousins firing pucks at Anthony Stolarz during warm-up of Game 3, Leafs versus Sens. That was last night from when I'm recording this right now. The NHL issued this memo Friday afternoon. The National Hockey League has announced today that it has fined the Ottawa Senators $25,000 for unsportsmanlike conduct during warm-ups prior to Game 3 of their first round series against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Thursday, April 24th. The fine money goes to the NHL Foundation. Additionally, the National Hockey League's Department of Player Safety has fined Ottawa's Nick Cousins $2,083.33, the maximum allowable under the collective bargaining agreement for unsportsmanlike conduct during Thursday's warmups. The fine money goes to the Players Emergency Assistance Fund. That is great! Is anybody else just super perplexed that $25,000 to the Ottawa Senators is the punishment in this case here? I understand fining Nick Cousins the maximum amount. You don't want things going down in warmups. You don't want people firing pucks at other players. I get that stuff. Fine Nick Cousins, send a little message, that's it. But to then also fine the Ottawa Senators organization as a whole $25,000, like they had any part in this. Like Michael Andlauer is responsible at all for the actions of Nick Cousins. Teams don't get fined when people get suspended. When Morgan Riley ran over Ridley Grigg and cross-checked him in the face after Ridley Grigg slapped a puck into the empty net, the Toronto Maple Leafs did not get fined $25,000 for the actions of Morgan Riley on Ridley Grigg. But in this case, Michael Andlauer must get fined $25,000. I'm going to keep saying that because that is a large sum of money in this case for the actions of Nick Cousins. That's the part that does not compute with me. And here's some background on this is that Nick Cousins and Anthony Stolarz, goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, are buddies because they've played together twice. They played together in Philadelphia. And then last season, these two guys were on the exact same team and won a Stanley Cup together. These two dudes are good friends. And Nick Cousins was doing it as a joke, obviously. Like, there was no malicious intent. But understandably, the league doesn't want this. You don't want pucks going at other players on the other team. Like I said, I understand the fine. I don't understand the fine to Michael Andlauer, who inherited a team that already lost a draft pick for something that Pierre Dorion did, who he fired. And the Ottawa Senators are still missing a first-round pick. That should also be noted here, that the league twice now seems to have unfairly punished Michael Andlauer. I don't know what he has done to upset Gary Bettman. Bettman let him into this club of owners, the exclusive club of NHL owners, so they must have a great relationship. But it seems like the Ottawa Senators are receiving an extreme amount of punishment in these issues. And I have no reason to be defending the Ottawa Senators right now. As a Leafs fan, we are in the middle of a heated Battle of Ontario series, but I look at this situation and I say it's kind of ridiculous. We got some quotes too from the players and coaches involved. Travis Green said it's an active investigation. He was asked about it before the actual fine. Everything was doled out. According to Chris Johnson in The Athletic, tongue firmly in cheek, he said, I don't know if I should comment. He went on to say Nick Cousins and Stolarz have played together. I don't know. He's probably trying to either laugh at him or make a joke or get him off of his game. It is what it is. It happens probably a lot more than you think. Craig Berube said, I don't think it's anything, said Leafs coach Craig Berube, who enthusiastically shared the details of a Flyers-Rangers warm-up melee from 91 that he was in the middle of during his playing days. I mean, they played together last year, Berube continued. I don't even know who did it, or I don't know a lot about it. To be honest with you, the league will handle that. It just seemed like everybody thought it was kind of funny because these two guys are buddies. Nick Cousins is obviously trying to be a goofball, and that there's no reason to be outraged about all of this. And there's a screenshot, a little video, it was a grainy video going around earlier of Nick Cousins firing the puck to Anthony Stolarz during warmups. Elliot Friedman tweeted it out, who was on the story along with Darren Dreger, and then Chris Johnson wrote a great article in The Athletic about the whole thing. And so there's a bunch of news trickling out all day. And the grainy video that Friedman tweeted out, it was Nick Cousins shooting the puck once down the ice, but apparently he did it a couple times during warm-up, so it wasn't just for one time doing it. Maybe if he had just done it once, he would have gotten away with it, but apparently it was a few different times he fired pucks at Stolarz, and I assume it was very lighthearted in the moment. And Chris Johnson wrote this about Stolarz, saying, Stolarz didn't mention the alleged incident in warmups when speaking with reporters after the game, but he did acknowledge that the Senators appear to be trying to get under his skin. I just kind of stay out of it, he said. I kind of talked to the refs a little bit there tonight and just said, watch my back and I'll behave. So Stolarz there talking about the Sens trying to get under his skin. It's a multi-layer story. You've been following this series closely. In game number 1, Ridley Greig bowls over Stolarz. He slides right into him, and it did look a tad intentional there. I don't think Stolarz forgot about it, because in game number 2, when Greig is trying to get in his crease, he keeps going through his crease. He keeps trying to get position in front where Stolarz is trying to stand. Stolarz then goes to town on Greig with a whole bunch of cross checks. He eventually shoulders him right to the ice, and they both end up getting penalties on that play. And then we have this next incident where Nick Cousins is firing pucks at him. So on top of everything that has been happening with Stolarz on the ice during the game, we get this. And I guess the NHL has looked at this situation as a whole, and they say, chill, Sens. Chill a little. Cool it with the going at the goalie stuff. We don't want this in our game. We're going to fine you as an organization, and we're going to fine you, Nick Cousins, specifically for spearheading this moment here of the firing of the pucks. That's how the NHL, I assume, is looking at this. They're looking at it as a whole in terms of the entire series and the amount of action that's happened with Anthony Stolarz and the Sens. And Stolarz admits it there. Like, they've been trying to get under his skin, and the NHL is saying, cool down. I don't personally think it should be a fine to the organization as a whole, because we do not often see organizations fined for actions of individual players on the ice. It should have been a fine to Nick Cousins. It should have been a don't do that, guys. Calm down situation. $25,000 is too much, is kind of where I'm sitting on this. But what do you think? Do you think the overall nature of how the Sens have been treating Anthony Stolarz warrants this fine to the Sens and to Cousins? Or are you like, this is a little much? NHL, focus on some other issues you should definitely be focusing on before you focus on pregame pucks going down to the other end. Let me know what you think in the YouTube comments on the Jesse Blake Sports Report YouTube channel. Hit like while you are there and hit subscribe as well on the channel. You can also listen to this on all audio platforms if you are not listening there right now. That is it for me tonight. Good night from Toronto.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.